clue. Do you have one? Specifically, the 1996 edition. Who done it? Was it Miss Scarlet in the ballroom with the candlestick? Possibly everybody has played Clue. This is an edition that I just received. Look at the gun in the dog's mouth. Did the dog do it? Why is the dog not an option? Everybody knows he's a good boy. I'm sure he had his reasons. You can't accuse the dog. Spoiler alert, the dog actually did it in every game of Clue. The canon gameplay objective is to have somebody take the fall because, after all, who's going to imprison the dog? This got off to a weird start. Welcome home, brave heroes. I'm Ash. This is HeroQuest, and yes, this does fit into the quest for today. We are not going to simply be unboxing it. A poorly taped up box of Clue and presenting its parts. We are actually going to be seeing if, surprise, surprise, Clue is in any way compatible with HeroQuest. All right, so some of the ideas on the show might be a little bit out there. They might not be for everyone, and we do like to have fun, but we will be applying some of the HeroQuest elements to the Clue gameplay system. And if you just stick with me, you might actually come up with something interesting for your own homebrew of HeroQuest, regardless of how much it may be tied to what I'm showing here. When I hosted the HeroQuest Quest Jam, somebody did have an idea that kind of revolved around the Clue gameplay concept. It was kind of an homage to that. I don't know that that quest made it into the jam, though. Anyway, just to show you everything that comes with this edition, look, they taped the box lid upside down even. We've got all of our gameplay and how to play instructions here just on the board riser. I really like that. If it's not going to be simple, give me a manual of some kind to refer to. If it is going to be simple, use the box riser. Give that precious real estate some more use. Clue, reglas del juego. El señor cadáver, víctima. Wait a minute. These are the instructions, but in Spanish. Oh, the separate Spanish instructions. I got 2 pens with my second-hand edition. Surprise, I did not buy this brand new. Everything's in not a terrible condition. I've got plenty of character pads. Looks like the game was enjoyed at least once. They used a glitter pen on this. That was creative and fun. I could definitely play some Clue. I actually do enjoy Clue. We've got our confidential envelope, and we've got all of our pieces. We've got these silly things, which I don't know what name has been given to this common gameplay piece. Is it just marker? Is there a specific name for the way that the piece curves up? And then we've got this ball at the end as if it's some sort of anthropomorphized human image. Is there another reason that it's shaped like that? Is it just me? We've got our single red movement dice. And my favorite element of this game, the 6 beautifully crafted objects that could have served as the murder weapon that killed Mr. Body in his own home. All the cards, of course, have the same backs for gameplay reasons, but you have all of your murder weapon cards, all of the cards that represent the different rooms on the board, and the cards that represent the 6 suspects, who are also played by the players. Look at Professor Plum. He's like, and you may find yourself with a lead pipe in your hand. This isn't entirely a Clue video, but just to get some understanding of how the gameplay mechanics might be transferred and or converted, we end up taking one of each of those cards I just showed you without knowing which one, so that we have 1 suspect, 1 murder weapon, and 1 room, and we put them all in the confidential file. And then this file stays right here in the center of the game board until somebody makes the correct accusation that allows that player to open up the envelope and see if they were right. You use the process of elimination, traveling room to room and making suggestions. And each time you make a suggestion, it's kind of like a reverse game of Go Fish, where the other players who will have the cards, because these get divvied up between players at the end of the put secret cards into secret envelope phase, well, they'll prove you wrong and show you what they have in their hand. We'll show you 1 card, at least. I'm cutting corners with the explanation, but the game can be quite fun. Now, we don't want to leave the board as is. We're going to take some nice HeroQuest furniture and really spruce it up before we continue. I think the weapons rack should go into the kitchen. There we go. Right there in the kitchen. I would have put the alchemist table in the kitchen, but I think it'll work better in the conservatory. Our bookshelf just has to go to the library. The main hall seems like the best place for this, the tomb of Mr. Body. We'll put the torture rack in the lounge because, after all, who doesn't like to get onto the torture rack, chain themselves up, and stretch out their bones after a long day at work? We'll put the wizard's table in the study because, after all, who doesn't love to study a few spells when they've got the time and inclination? I'll put the throne in the dining room. It'll be representative of the host of the meal. And then finally, I'll put the cabinet in the billiard room. This is where they store all the balls. The only room that doesn't have a piece of furniture on it at this point is the ballroom. Okay, so HeroQuest has a lot of miniatures to choose from. By default, I would say pick 6 of them because this is a game of 6s. You've got 6 suspects, you've got 6 murder rooms. You do have up to 6 players. Just go ahead and take 6 of these characters. Doesn't matter which. This could give your players an opportunity to pick somebody that they wouldn't normally be able to play in a game of typical HeroQuest. But I probably would remove the Chaos Sorcerer because everybody's going to need a card to kind of represent them during normal Clue gameplay. And all of these hero characters and these monsters do have a card. So we'll just say, for the sake of ease, that we'll get all of the heroes off. And say somebody wanted to play a goblin, somebody wanted to be a skeleton, somebody's a chaos warrior, somebody is an orc. Go ahead and grab yourself an additional 2 if you have 4, because we need to account for 6 suspects altogether. So I went ahead and grabbed the mummy and the gargoyle. We need these suspects on the board, even if they're not represented by players, because they need to be brought into the rooms where the suggestions and accusations are being made. That is how Clue is played. Now, one of the hiccups that you might find early on is that the cards in Clue all have the same backing. No matter whether it's a room card, a suspect card, or a weapon card, they're all going to have the same back. And that's to help keep things ambiguous until the final envelope or reveal. Well, HeroQuest, we have different card backs. We've got our monster cards, we've got our equipment cards. This is the classic EU edition cards, in case anybody was wondering. And then we don't have cards to represent the rooms, so we'll have to do something about that. So we got to proxy our own furniture cards. We can use the Axiom Quest dungeon cards if you have those, because each one of these cards represents a different piece of furniture, and we've already marked each room with a piece of furniture. So instead of calling out the room, or we can call out the room, but we're using the piece of furniture as the reference to know what it is. So if somebody says, I think that skeleton did it with the revolver, we need to address this here in just a minute, in the dining room, then whichever character has the throne card will be able to show that to the accuser or suggester to prove them wrong. But because all of the cards have different backs, the way to play HeroQuest Clue Quest is going to be to make sure you don't show any of your cards, the fronts or the backs, to any other player. You'll have to keep them secret in your hand. That doesn't quite sound as fun or as intuitive as just having the cards and having them lay down. So if you'd like to try a few games doing it both ways and seeing the pros and cons, let me know how it went. I think that playing with the card backs revealed might prove to lead some people to making their suggestions a little bit earlier. They might be able to deduce by process of elimination who the murderer was faster. But since everybody has kind of the ability to do that at the same time, it might make for a more interesting game after all. And more or less, that's kind of it. If you just wanted to play Clue with the HeroQuest flavor, you're able to do so in this way, and the characters can enter rooms and make accusations and all of that good stuff to see who the murderer of Mr. Body was. And of course, you can change it up to where Mr. Body is Sir Ragnar or Mentor or Queen Nefarious. I made that up. I don't want there to be a rumor going around that Queen Nefarious is somehow in the next expansion or something. The last thing to do is to assign an equipment card to each of the different weapons. We have equipment cards in the newest version of HeroQuest as well, so I know that this is perfectly doable. So broadsword, short sword, hand axe, battle axe, crossbow, spear. Crossbow could be the pistol. I should have got the wizard's staff card. That could have been the pipe easily. Then here is your battle axe, the wrench. It kind of has an axe-like shape if you squint your eyes and turn your head and look the other way. This is easily the dagger or the short sword or the broadsword if you'd like it to be. The candlestick is the spear, and then the rope is whatever you deem it to be by proxying it in a similar fashion. You could use up to 4 of the men-at-arms weapons if you are lucky enough to have these sorts of things, or you could actually just proxy the weapons by using other characters. What do I mean by that? Well, glad you asked. Instead of having weapons. You can actually have the monsters as the murder weapons, and you can use the heroes as the suspects. Now, Avalon Hill have given us a multitude of heroes as of the time of this recording, so we have far more than the 6 suspects required to play a proper game of Clue. You could choose any 6 of the heroes and then any 6 of the monsters to sprinkle onto the board. And you could keep track of who has what monster, hero, or room card in their hand in any way you so please. At this point, we've moved far beyond being able to do it with the basic Clue cards, unless you write down a reference and keep track of what card represents what HeroQuest element. But just to give you an example of how this particular version of the game would work, the barbarian is taking his turn, rolls the movement die, moves into the billiard room, and suggests that the elf is the one who hired the orc to kill Mentor in the billiard room. And that has a weird sort of sense that it actually makes. We have a sort of conspiratorial context, that it doesn't have to be Mentor, of course. Like I said, it can be Sir Ragnar, it could be the king, it could be somebody of importance. And you could also use this scenario because in real HeroQuest lore, I mean, the elf would never, ever hire an orc to kill the DM of the game who is giving you your instructions and reading from Lore Tome. You could absolutely say we're trying to figure out who the imposter hero is. You could tie this to your canon game of HeroQuest, your current campaigns, your homebrew, or you could just say, screw it, this is a one-off, this is just for fun, this is for drunk party nights. And you could mod this further by adding to the number of movement dice and giving your heroes the classic 2 movement dice. You could have it where the hero can accuse whoever other suspect with whatever other monster, as per normal Clue rules, if they're in the room in which they wish to make the accusation. But when the monster arrives, they now have to do normal combat with that monster using HeroQuest's battle system. It would just be really crappy to have to guess that it was the gargoyle. So in order to maintain that process of elimination, you've got to summon the monster to your room here and then do battle with it before you can do a proper suggestion or accusation. Or perhaps you can only do an accusation if you battle the monster. Suggestions do not require you to combat, accusations do. In any case, give all of the heroes their full complement of equipment or spells or whatever they start out with. Let the wizard pick their suit of element first, then the elf, then the wizard gets the remaining suits, and combat can take place in the rooms whenever they perform a suggestion or accusation. The heroes could also do combat with one another in classic arena style if they so choose in order to slow each other down, keep each other from getting to the rooms. One of the rules in Clue is that if you are in a room and another character is blocking the door, you can't move around that character. You've got to leave through another exit. And if 2 characters are blocking you in, you have to wait until somebody moves out of the way. Now, in HeroQuest, all of the heroes are able to move through each other, but you could adjust this rule since they are somewhat distrustful of each other at this point. I mean, they're literally accusing one another of murdering someone important, so somebody is a traitor here. So definitely keep to that, and then your hero can't do anything on their turn. Perhaps they could actually use this opportunity to search for treasure. That would be good if you were going to combine this with your HeroQuest campaign. So my barbarian is going to search for treasure on his turn because he's got nothing else to do. And well, I mean, and why not? Why shouldn't it be a wandering monster? Go ahead and grab a monster from the pile, put it in the billiard room. Maybe use the Axion Quest card deck to determine which monster it should be. All in all, I think that this is a wellspring of little ideas that could be combined in any combination to add to your HeroQuest or Clue experience. And may it serve you well on your next game night. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to comment any of your ideas or feedback down below, and we'll do another game of it's not Will It HeroQuest. This is more like Will HeroQuest it? Can it be HeroQuested? I'll take suggestions. It's your channel too. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day, and bye for now.